Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Beloved Wildflower. I'm your host, Danielle. Thank you for tuning in today. This part of the Beloved Wildflower will be called Wildflowers in the Attic. And these are stories, poetry, thoughts, notes that I've taken, and I've stored them in my heart and in my mind, and they've been collecting dust ever since. Once upon a time, I had a cousin who I love dearly tell me that I was selfish. She was very honest. And I said, "Why do you say that?" And she said, "You're selfish because you have so much talent and so many stories that people are waiting for. It's your responsibility to share those stories and stop being afraid to share it. There are going to be people who are going to reject it, but there are going to be people who embrace it and who need to hear it. So stop hoarding your stories." So we're going to call this part of the wildflower, or the beloved wildflower, Flowers in the Attic, because these are the stories that I've stored in my mind. Now, I know that there's book titles and movie titles about flowers in the attic, so I'm not trying to get in trouble with copyrights. Um, but they're the flowers that I have stored in my attic. And you know how that is when you store something in an attic. Oftentimes, it just collects dust. You forget it's up there. So I've been going through a lot of my material, and I'm like, wow, I could share this. And the problem is when you've dealt with a lot of insecurities and rejection, which we've all have, and you haven't faced those demons, it's hard for you to be honest and show your real self because you're afraid to. So I'm no longer afraid to show who I am and be my authentic self. I'm also learning how to be alone and not be in a crowd and enjoy the silence, as well as the the quiet lessons that you can only get when you are by yourself. And so this part of my life that I'm going to share with you guys, I wasn't familiar with the Most High as much as I wanted to be, but I wanted the Most High. I always wanted an intimate relationship with the Most High, but I struggled because of the different things that I would see in church, and we'll dive into that one day too. So I kind of broke away from the church and started exploring different things. So I just want to be completely transparent about my journey. That's what this channel is about, is expressing um, honesty, and I'm healing and learning how to heal and learning how to be honest and exposing myself. So there would never be a, "Oh, look at her, we're going to expose her." No, no, you're not. I'll share everything. I'm not afraid anymore. I gave it all to the Most High. So in the spring of 2018, I went on a vacation with my grandmother. My grandmother and I have been talking about going on a vacation for some time, and my grandmother's German. She's been wanting me to go to Germany with her for quite some time. And the year we were supposed to go, I ended up having a baby, our second son, Miles. And so I didn't feel comfortable leaving our baby, who I was breastfeeding at the time, to go on this, you know, extravagant Germany experience with my grandmother. Although it would have been something I could remember for the rest of my life, my husband and my children were more important. So I decided not to go. Then we started talking and we decided to do something else. So we decided to go to New Orleans in the spring of 2018 for the Jazz Fest. So I'm going to read to you what I wrote and my experience and what I felt when I was in New Orleans, as well as let you guys listen to a 6-minute voice recording on my phone. So you're going to hear a difference in the sound. So there's a lot of things that I will share with you guys that are coming from my phone, because I've had this voice recording app on my phone on and off since like the end of 2017. And so sometimes I get flustered when I'm writing because you try not to be so particular when you're trying to get your ideas out. And so if I forget how to spell a word, or I'll think too hard about trying to say a word when I'm writing, I'll forget the thought. So I said, you know what, I'm tired of doing that. I just decided to do voice recordings. So you're going to hear the voice recording as well. And there are parts of the voice recording that is not so clear, But what you're meant to hear, you'll hear. Okay. So thank you for tuning in to the Wildflowers in the Attic episodes, where I will share old poetry, old stories, old thoughts, voice recordings, and different things like that. And so you can see my transition from this woman who wasn't lost, but I would say I was one of those sheeps that Christ did come after. And what I'm understanding is that when you are fighting demons, you have to learn how to battle one of them at a time. The only one that went toe to toe with legions was Christ. Okay. So you have to understand that you're going to face many demons. These entities have been here before you. And every civilization on the face of the earth has described them as some superior race that gave them some ancient knowledge. And they were all serpents or dragons. And so they've been around for thousands of years. And they've studied you more than you know you. So you're going to face them. You're going to fight them. You're going to get beguiled. It's inevitable. When you are beguiled, you learn from it. And you figure out how to dodge it next time. Just like a skilled fighter. They may get knocked out in the ring a few times, but once they develop a certain strength and a certain resistance and to the negativity and the bad comments people might say about them, and they get back up in that ring, they've studied their opponent now, and they end up knocking it out. So don't try to take on legions. Fight one of them at a time, and you'll get there. And so, here's my notes from the New Orleans vacation with my grandmother. Like I said, she's German, so it's funny because I love doing impersonations of her, or impersonations. There we go, of my grandmother, because it's just so funny. She's so cute. And when she wants you to take a picture, she doesn't say take a picture. She said, make a picture for me, Danielle. So, it was fun hanging out with her in New Orleans, her German accent. So, here we go. We went on a voodoo ghost and goblin tour, my grandmother and I. And 90% of the stuff that we did, my grandmother just said, go ahead, Danielle, what do you want to do? This wasn't her first time in New Orleans, but this was some of her first experiences with me. So she was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, oh, can we do this? Can we do this? She was like, sure, I don't care. So we did a ghost and goblin and voodoo tour. And one thing I can say about New Orleans, it feels like the dead is walking with the living. Like two realities are happening simultaneously. And if you had eyes to see, you could just see them walking with you. I felt them. I felt the dead walking with the living. It was a eerie, ancient, kind of leave goosebumps and the hairs on your neck stand up vibe. But it was also a very beautiful experience. So we did that tour, and then we did a gator tour. We got on the pontoon, and we, went to the bayou, and we looked at the gators. Okay. And so I felt the presence of the Most High talking to me, and I'm going to tell you why. Because sometimes what you ask for, or what you think you need, is not what you need. And Ahaya, the I am that I am, the Most High, will send you subtle hints like you need to be careful because you're stepping into something that you're not familiar with. And it's a little more skilled spiritually than you are. And if you continue to go this route, you may be consumed by it. Okay? So here's my thoughts. It's about life, not money. The secret recipe to the pie. What I was looking for revealed its ancient roots in swampy water where dinosaurs dwell and trees whisper old hymns and tales of travels before. He said, I bet your life is much better than it was 6 years ago. Your mind is much clearer now, ain't it? I replied, yes, it is. So what do you want to know about voodoo? Okay. So here we are on this pontoon. Now, the host or the guide on this pontoon went from flirting with me and making inappropriate jokes, saying that he would take me as one of his wives in the bayou, and my husband would never find me. I was like, my husband would never give up trying to find me. He's like, you can't get, if you don't know these back roads and these swampy routes, you're out of luck. I would take you as one of my wives. And he was just joking and laughing, and he's like, he'd never find you back here in these parts of the bayou. And so he was joking about it. One of the reasons why I wanted to go to New Orleans, because I wanted to find a voodoo priest. At that time in my life, I had completely removed myself from church because there were so many things that I did not like in the church. And I said, well, what are some of the most ancient ways that copper colored folks worshiped the Creator prior to slavery? And so I started looking into documentaries on voodoo. And this was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to New Orleans. I was like, New Orleans got it. I know they got it. I wanted to find out more about it. I was interested, right? So this conversation going back and forth is between me and the driver of the pontoon, okay? And now, mind you, there's like 20 people on this pontoon. And the conversation between him and I got so thick that even my grandmother felt uncomfortable. She's like, do you want me to move so you can sit closer to him so you can talk to him? He stopped talking to everybody on the boat. It was just him and I. So like I said, in the beginning, he started, flirting. Then he got like super spiritual. It was like a switch went off. And it was an eerie sight to see, but I know it was the Father, because the next day I wrote what I'm writing here, okay? What was frightening to me was that, and I'll pick up reading on this again in a second, this man would throw out marshmallows into the water. And the water is so murky and so muddy, like you can't see nothing. He threw out a few marshmallows and these ancient dragons popped up out of the water. And it didn't hit me till the next day that this is the same water where they would tie copper-colored babies to ropes and drop them in the water, and these gators would come up. And I cried the next day when it really hit me that I was in the water where the lost souls of children dwell, and they were consumed by gators for gator skin. And it makes me choke up still to this day, because to see that a marshmallow can bring up 2 or 3 just based on the sound and the frequency that the water put off from the dropping of that marshmallow, I can only imagine how many popped up when a child was dropped in this water, and how many blood sacrifices happened in the bayou. And so it just created this like whirlwind of emotions and creative ideas. I was like, I have to write about this. I have to record what's going on. Like I have to record my emotions right now, because I was intrigued by the ancient stuff that New Orleans had, Louisiana had, but I was also taken back and almost emotionally paralyzed when I really let it sit in. It was like, wow, they used to feed babies to these dinosaurs, to these ancient beasts, these ancient dragons. They used to feed babies that look like my sons and my husband and my mom to these beasts for their skin. And the pontoon driver was talking about how some of the water is like, it's so murky and so cloudy you couldn't see them coming. And you can see it when you're on the pontoon. You can't see these gators. Like there's thousands of them right under the boat, but you can't see them because the water camouflages them so well. And there are certain parts, he said, on the bayou where the mud is so thick that if you were trying to escape from one of them and get, to dry land, it's almost equivalent to quicksand. It's so thick, it's hard to get out of it. And some of the trees are so prickly. He said if you try to grab them, they will hurt your hands. And so I was just like, just thinking about the brothers and sisters in the South, Louisiana, that tried to escape slavery and hide in the bayou, and how many of them were eaten alive by gators because it was hard to get out of that mud, and when they reached for certain trees, it was hard for them to grab on it. So I was very emotional at this time. I was church hurt at this time. I ran away from the church. I didn't want no parts of the church. I didn't want no parts of no church people. I was so hurt by some of the things that I had to witness in the church and experience. I didn't want no parts of that. So I said, what was our folks doing before slavery? What was some of the ancient things? Okay, so I'm gonna pick up on what I was writing now. All right. I replied, excuse me, yes, it is. So what do you know about voodoo? Now I'm asking him this. No, he said, so what do you want to know about voodoo? Because I asked him about voodoo. I said, what you know about voodoo? He said, what do you want to know about voodoo? And I replied, everything. He said, well, you ain't gonna get that. Voodoo is all around. And it's life. It's all around. It's inside you too. He said, it's everywhere. But there's only one true God. Remember that. Only one. And it's in here. And he pointed to his heart, you know. And he just kept emphasizing that. And I was like, well, here I am young and impressionable spiritually, because I'm so hurt by the church that I'm trying to grab onto anything as a substance to reach my Abba. You know what I mean? And I didn't know that the kingdom of heaven was really inside, and you had to do your own work in here to figure out what your intimate relationship looks like with the Abba. And so I kept talking to him about it. I was like, how you know, God ain't a woman, just being ignorant. And he was like, we know God ain't no woman. You just need to know that he made Adam and Eve, and that God is in you. That's it. He's in you. That's all you need to know, right? And then he goes on to say that money don't buy happiness. As if he can see through me and see that at this point in my life, I didn't think I was successful because I wasn't making a whole bunch of money. And I thought that money was success. And I wanted a whole bunch of it so I could have a whole bunch of nice stuff. And he's like, money ain't everything. It don't buy you happiness. You need peace, basically. Like, so we're going back and forth having this very long conversation to the point where there are some people on this pontoon looking at us like, do y'all want to have church without us? Because we're not even getting information on where we are in the bayou. It was an intervention from the Most High. I truly believe it was. And so I continued to write. The Bourbon streets were filled with drunken spirits and ghosts of yesterday that danced in the wind with the living. A deep pain was also felt, an energy that lingered like a musk. People from all walks of life danced, drank, and socialized with a poetic harmony. Let me see. Finance didn't matter, gender didn't matter, just the present moment. From ghost stories to live music, sugar skulls, and sweet treats, Louisiana had it all. It was one of the stones, our ancient gems, I think I needed in order to continue my soul's quest. I think what made me love this place was the natives' tongue. It was like a spicy, sweet sauce that you wanted to drizzle on everything. It was soft and warm like a fresh biscuit. I'm slowly learning how to let my guard down and let life happen, rather that be raging waters or light rains. Whatever the divine has for me, I'm ready. Louisiana gave me some peace of mind, right? But I also reflected when I got back, because it rained so hard the next day that we couldn't go back to New Orleans. We were like kind of out on the outskirts of New Orleans, I think about a 40-something minute drive away. And so It had rained so hard that they had lifted up the bridge and stuff, like they were making, necessary precautions because they didn't know if the rain was going to be so bad that it would flood certain areas. So we couldn't go back. So I couldn't go find that voodoo priest. Well, how about that? Our voodoo priestess. I couldn't go find it. Most High wouldn't let me. You know what he whispered to me? He made me reflect on that pontoon. Okay, so now I'm in the hotel. My grandma and I were at a hotel where they had a casino. Okay, and my grandma always makes a joke. That's her second job, or that's her profession is playing slot machines and gambling. Okay, so she was at work. Okay, I decided to stay upstairs. I had lost $20. I was like, I'm not playing nothing. I don't want to gamble. But grandma's down there gambling. I'm upstairs in the hotel room, and I'm looking at the rain, and it's very, very heavy, and I'm just reflecting on everything. And they had told us, prepare to kind of be stuck in wherever you are, because the rain is going to be so heavy and so hard. You don't really want to get out. So we prepared and got some snacks and stuff, and we had some little food and some stuff in the hotel. But he made me reflect on when I was on that pontoon. Now the water was so high that you could like literally just put your foot out, and the water could come up to like your ankle. Okay. And the Most High was talking to me when I was in that hotel room by myself, and grandma was working on them slot machines. He said, I was going to turn you over to the beast you wanted to serve. And you were so close from not only slipping off that pontoon and being eaten alive by them physically, you were going to be consumed by them spiritually too. You were tapping into uncharted waters that your spirit ain't familiar with. It's enticing and it tickles your ears, but you're not ready for what you think you're ready for. And I cried in that room by myself when I had took it all in. And I thank the Most High for stopping me from doing certain things, for destroying myself, because I know the Most High knew that in every way I could express to him, I was searching for the most ancient way to serve the Most High. And that was truly my quest. But he also showed me that, yes, that was a part of your quest, but you were really dealing with rejection, and you didn't know how to get out of that state of mind. So you were trying to find a tangible way to deal with something spiritually that only you and I can deal with when we face your reflection. And so I was running from facing myself and dealing with that rejection and dealing with that hurt from not only the things that happened in church, but things that have happened in my life. And so I'm like, wow, I can't go to this voodoo priest. And the next day it was time for us to go back to Foley, Alabama, where my grandmother stayed at. So the voodoo priestess never found me, and I never found her. And I'm grateful that the Most High didn't allow that interaction to take place. And so because of my rejection and my anger towards the church, I indirectly took it out on the Most High, and I was trying to figure out how to channel the Most High and connect with the Most High with voodoo. Okay? And what did it mean? Well, there's got to be good voodoo, right? This is what I'm telling myself. There's dark magic and there's good magic, right? Like, it has to be, And at this time, the Most High was sending me, ironically, videos from the Stephen Darby ministry, where the Most High was saying through Stephen Darby, your problem is witches. And Pastor Darby was dealing with my heart and cutting at my heart, and it was all from the Most High. So I was really being dealt with. The Most High was throwing hands on me like, baby, you got to come out of this slumber. You got to get out of this rejection, and this is how the enemy gets you. If you got too much rejection, that enemy will know and see what it is that you're interested in and give you what the fruit you desire. Everybody's going to go through rejection. Somebody's going to hurt your feelings. Somebody's going to cast a stone and hide their hand. Learn from it, though. Don't allow it to beat you down to where you don't show who you really are. And oftentimes, because we've dealt with so much rejection, and I'm speaking to whoever's listening now, we will tuck away our authentic self to blend in with people so we don't stand out. And the more I'm understanding, I'm meant to stand out. I am a peculiar person. My people are a peculiar people. I'm peculiar. I'm supposed to be weird out here. I'm not supposed to blend in. If I'm blending in, then I'm on the broad path. And so he had to show me, I have so many great things for you that will reward you spiritually with what you're trying to seek tangibly. Like your carnal self is trying to seek riches and wealth. The wealth I'm trying to give you is forever. And if you just listen and be patient and you quiet your mind and you love the aspects of your life that when you felt rejected and you love on that part and you deal with it and you take your power back, I promise you, everything is going to be amazing in your life. Okay? So these are my inner conversations with the Most High. Because at this time, I had looked into Buddhism, Hinduism, I had looked into shamanism, I watched videos on Wiccans, voodoo. The scary thing, though, about the voodoo videos was not the rituals, because men have been doing rituals since the beginning of time. There were rituals that people would do to praise the Most High, and there's rituals people do for Satan, Hashatan. And so what was creepy about the voodoo documentaries is that the voodoo priests and priestesses would boldly say they would go to church every Sunday. And they would pray to their gods in the Christian and Catholic churches. And I said, whoa, wait a second. Because they felt comfortable there. And that was another reason why I ran. Because I was like, if y'all comfortable in these places, where's the Holy Spirit at? Because you're supposed to be so uncomfortable that you don't want to go in. You know, why are these voodoo priests and priestesses comfortable in the Catholic and Christian churches? So I was like, hold on now. So the Most High's been taking me on a deep rabbit hole, baby. And I want to share a lot of it with y'all. So I'm going to share with y'all what I recorded my Louisiana 2018 experience. Here we are in 2024. Okay, so the sound might be a little distorted. Hopefully y'all can hear it. The swamp tour taught me that you can be around things as ancient as death and danger. But as long as you live your life one day at a time, keep an open mind and open heart, love yourself and see love and beauty in everything around you. And those things will only serve a purpose when they need to. But you can dwell anywhere you want. And as long as you know that there's a perfect balance beyond your understanding, life is simple. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't need a lot of money. It's like a flower. With the right soil and the right ingredients, such as water, sunlight, all things will bloom. You don't need fancy fertilizer. You don't need fancy soil, golden raindrops to make something grow. You just need a little love and hard work. And I think that's what life is all about. And being in Louisiana and seeing the different people and hearing the spicy, sweet tongue, their accent, hearing the French, inviting, beautiful, it's mystic, it's courageous, it's bold, but it's warm, like fresh biscuits. So I thank the universe, the divine, whether it be dominant male energy or female energy. Thank God for my life, for my husband, for my 2 children. They're my warm biscuits. They're my comfort food. They're my rain. God is my sun. And my soil is my soul. I'm learning. I've always had everything I needed to grow all around me and within me. I don't need to keep searching for exterior things. It's always been inside. Everything the soil has, my soul, will give me all the things I need in order to grow. I've got to trust myself more. Be more open-minded, more relaxed. Try not to let myself get so uptight about control. In that swampy water, I had no control. The boat would have tipped over. I had no control. I had no control of how many gators came around the boat, how the water splashed in my face, how the boat rocked and felt as almost if we were going to sink. I had no control. I just had the moment. And my life has been filled with so many beautiful moments that I've often sped past trying to get to the next goal. I look at my life with my husband and I've driven so fast that sometimes I don't even remember some of the things that were important because I'm always eager to go somewhere else and do something else. My husband is amazing and he is all the man that I need, all the men that I want. I truly believe the divine sent him to me to help me grow. And I'm very grateful for him. And it's time to let my guard down in all aspects of our relationship. To be open-minded, more of a listener. Just give him everything that he's given to me and more. And my boys. And not stress so much about all the things that are out of my control. The vaccines and the food and the water. Everything has a purpose. Our boys are going to be healthy and okay. Our marriage is healthy and it's okay. It's going to last. So divine, I'm ready. I'm ready again for the dreams that I used to have that once scared me. Of things to come. I'm ready for your presence to be ever inside of me and all around me. And I'm ready to continue to live in the present moment. Thank you for my grandmother holding my hand through this journey, even though she's walking crazy, talking and funny. Thank you for the swampy water, the religion that I learned. And I'm ready. Thank you for everything. None of Amen, Ashe, thank you for it. I say all of them. Today is April 14th, 2018. I'm 31 years old and I'm currently in the comforting and sweet Louisiana. And, it's raining pretty bad. We have 3 thunderstorms. I'm just chilling in the hotel, writing, getting my thoughts out. I'm happy. I'm afraid. Getting stronger. All my imperfections and failures. Time, lapse, loss. Caring so much how people think. Okay, so I said I'm happy. I'm tired of thinking about my imperfections and my insecurities. and I'm ready to take on anything. And I told the Most High at that point in my life, I said, if you bring, tsunamis in my life, that's okay. Or if you bring spring showers, I'm ready. Most High, I'm ready for whatever it is that you got in store for me, the good, bad, and the ugly. Just help me to be open-minded and listen. Help my heart to be healed where I don't have so many calluses that I got to guard up even with you. Just help me to flourish in the way that I'm supposed to. So this is a part of my transparency that I'm sharing with you guys in the journey, my spiritual growth and where I am now. And I thank the Abba for the spring showers and the tsunamis. They all have a purpose. It's all a divine balance. We just can't see it all. And honestly, I believe there are certain things we're not meant to see. We are created in the image of the Most High. We are created in the image of God. But there are things that I believe so much stuff that we're not supposed to learn, that if we did, it would be a burden. And the magic of life, the mystery of life, the beauty of life is beautiful because it is a mystery. It's beautiful because it is kind of hidden, but it's in plain sight. And you just got to take it one day at a time and realize that there are going to always be ancient dragons and beasts in the swampy waters of your mind and in your heart. And you must be careful when you are indulging in your flesh and leaning onto your own understanding, because you'll get to a place where you may fall in those places, these swampy waters where these dragons and ancient dinosaurs dwell, and you'll be consumed. Depression can consume you. Anxiety can consume you. Fear can consume you. These things hide within us. They're the swampy waters that we have in us. And every once in a while, you just got to be courageous and get on that boat and suck that water out of there. Slay them dragons and them beasts. You can't do it all at one time. You got to take it one day at a time. But you have enough courage and strength to do it. This is why I want to be transparent, because I was on the verge of getting into voodoo because I was so church hurt. And I had to realize church folks are going to be church folks. People going to be people. My relationship isn't with them, it's with God. And if you base your relationship with the Most High on the things that you've learned about the church and the evils that you've learned about the church, and even some of the faces that you see who've hurt you in the church, that ain't God. The enemy comes in all forms to attack. It's a shapeshifter out here, okay? Because really and truly, it's just a frequency that can beguile anybody. And so I had allowed things that people had said about me who were in the church, judgment from the church, to get me to a place where I felt so rejected by it that I was like, well, if this is what God is, I don't want this part of God. So let me go find another aspect of him, But I was losing faith in God by trusting these people in the first place. He said, seek after your own soul's salvation with fear and trembling. It ain't nobody's responsibility out here. No pastor, no deacon, no none of them. Pharisee, Sadducee, no church member, no elder of the church. It ain't nobody's responsibility to create an intimate relationship with God for you. That is your work. The kingdom of heaven dwells within you. That's your work. That's your temple. Seek after your own soul salvation with fear and trembling. That's your work. I had to learn that on this journey by nearly being swallowed by alligators. So thank you for tuning in, beautiful people, to the Wildflowers in the Attic of my mind. I'm going to share more of it with you. And that noise you heard in the background of that voice recording on my phone, that's how heavy that rain was. Okay. So the Most High was cleansing me inside and outside. He was cleansing the world. So I was crying in the hotel, and my heart, I was crying, and there was all this rain out here. So all of that noise you heard in the background was the rain and me moving around in the bed as I was looking out at the rain. So thank you for tuning in to the beloved Wildflower, and for tuning in to this episode of Wildflowers in the Attic. my voice recordings and old poetry. Y'all have a wonderful day and never give up on your album because people out here crazy. Love your creator because your creator is within you. If you don't love your creator and don't see the creator within you, you don't trust and love yourself enough. It's truly everything that you are is what your creator is. So love yourself because the kingdom of heaven is within you. Y'all take care. Till next time.